Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 30 of the Thunder
Three oh,
Gals.
3-0.
This is
Oh,
a
it's terrible.
milestone
It is.
podcast for us here as we await the Western Conference Finals. I'm one of your hosts, Brittany, aka Oakland Soda Gal, here with my co-host, Paula. How are you doing, Paula?
Much better than I was last week. Last
Yes.
week I was on the injured reserve list, but I'm better now. So, and I'm excited that we're not having the palpitations of a game 7 awaiting us right now.
Yes, much better than last year's second round of the playoffs.
I don't think I've recovered from that one yet still.
That one was heart attack inducing. We went 0 and 1, then 1 and 1, then down 2-1. That one, oh my gosh, that was just so up and down and all over the place. But I will still never forget Shay's smile walking off after game 3 in Denver, down 2 games to 1. He
Mm-hmm.
heard some fan talking trash and he just smiled and was like, "We got this. Like, we're fine."
And he was right. He was right. Mark talks a lot about how collected Che is. He's like, okay, it's going to happen. We're going to take care of it. He just stays just cool and collected across the way. I mean, like he doesn't get mad like some players you see a lot that
Yeah, not too
when,
hot, not too cold, just,
mm-mm.
keeps it real level. As he says, his whole life is consistent.
And he shows it every single game.
And, in this second round, we
Hmm.
swept the Lakers 4-0,
Sure did.
ended up 8-0 against the Lakers on the season,
Yep.
counting the playoffs and regular season. We went 18-0 against all the California teams this year, so that's a pretty fun one.
Yeah, that is.
I can see why the California fans hate the Thunder.
Me too. But I also hate playing in California because games don't tip until 9:30, 9:45.
Hey, one big positive about the teams that are left, all are on the I-35 corridor, all are in the central time zone. And now that once we get to the conference finals, it will only be one game a night, unlike tonight where there's two game sixes. So even though
It
Minnesota
makes
and
us,
San Antonio are central, they still have to play an 8:30 game. Um,
well, I
so
don't understand why they're not staggering. I don't know.
I I mean
I don't make the schedules.
they had to they could not have predicted that those would be the only two series going to game 6,
That's fair.
like
That's fair.
they scheduled it, I think, the best they could, and it just ended up the two series that weren't sweeps are the two
I
series
mean,
that were scheduled for Friday. So here
the
we
second
are.
round did not pan out the way I thought it would either. So I completely understand where the schedulers were.
First round, only one sweep out of the entire first round.
Hmm.
And then there's two already in the second round. Two of the four series go sweeps. The Knicks were the other team to sweep 4-0 over the Sixers, who, oh,
Oh, did we mention that Jared McCain is doing great?
Jared McCain. What a series in the second round for him. After barely being used against Phoenix, just not a good matchup for him, so he just didn't get a
Mhm.
lot of minutes. But then comes in the second round, and you wouldn't have guessed that he hadn't played much in the first round. He just came in clicking, hitting threes, driving the basket too. And I think
Mhm.
there was an interview Shea gave where he said he's not just a shooter, he's a scorer. And that was really encapsulated. You could see him threatening those 3-point shots a few times, drawing the defender out, then driving hard to the basket with the opening on the defender and getting some easy layups too. So, to Shay's point, not just being the catch and shoot shooter, but actually knowing how to score the ball even when you drive the basket.
Who would have thought this time last year that Jared McCain would be playing so deep in the playoffs and Daryl Morey, so hi, Daryl Morey, would not have a job today?
I was listening to the Down to Dunk podcast this morning, and they did a mock of the Afro Man song "Because I Got High," but it was
Oh
the
no.
Daryl Morey version. Because I sold high, because I sold high, because I sold high.
Perfect. Perfect. And I'm sure their rendition is not near as good as yours was.
It was better, I'm sure.
Spectacular. But I mean it's our people thrive here for the majority of the time. They thrive here when they didn't have opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah. And, it seemed like McCain liked his situation in Philadelphia. Like, he liked his
Hmm.
teammates. But, I've kind of just bits and pieces of what he's shared in his vlogs, since I've
Hmm.
started watching them since he joined our team. He does seem to kind of suggest that this is an even better atmosphere. And that, like, I think when he got traded, he was scared he was, gonna not be accepted and not be welcomed into the team. And it's very clear now, like, he's been welcomed with open arms and is building real
Hmm.
friendships. In his most recent vlog that he dropped, I think it came out this morning, part of it's him hanging out at Chet's birthday party and like hanging out with Chet and Jay Will. And,
Him
it's
and Jay Will terrorizing iHeart, including iHeart, is one of my favorite things right now. Every time iHeart tries to back away, shut a door, just stand there like this uncomfortable scarecrow, and here's Jay Will and J Mac just being kids. It cracks me up.
it's
Like
fun.
iHeart loves it, but he looks so irritated, and it just reminds me of Shay when the guys are just being crazy in the interviews, and he's like, "Boys, boys."
Right? It's that fun, like, kind of like, it's my little brother kind of deal
Hmm.
going on.
Putting him in a headlock and scrubbing.
Give him some noogies.
What happens when you got 7 foot people around able to give noogies to other tall people?
So the Thunder 8-0 in the playoffs right now.
Eight, no. Yes.
I
Pretty sweet.
predicted the sweep in round two. I
You did.
said
I
it
will
from the
absolutely
beginning.
give you that. I thought that they would, and they almost did. I thought they would get one in LA, but we shut that down.
We sure did.
That was too close for me. I didn't like that. They got lazy, and I didn't like
I
that.
I didn't like it either because it meant I had to stay up through the end. I was so
Me
tired.
too.
I was so tired, but I was like, well, this is a close game, so I'm watching it through.
My
Um,
kid actually came in to watch it with me,
ooh,
and he comes in. Normally, he's social. He's generally not around when I'm watching a game, but he happened to, and because it was such a late start, the third quarter was hardly into it when it was like 11 o'clock.
right.
And so he comes in, he's like, well, why don't I watch some of the game with you? I'm like, yeah, that's great. I said, but there's at least 45 more minutes of this. He's like, there's only 8 minutes. I'm like, no, no, no. Let me explain to you. Okay. So he sat down and he stayed through the rest of the game. And it was so fun because, when you watch a game yourself, most of your thoughts are internalized, except for a few. expletives that come out at the screen every once in a while. But to have somebody who doesn't watch it very often and express all of the, oh wow, that was cool. Oh, that was a oh, that was really cool to see. Yep, got to give him that one. And I was just like enjoying watching his enthusiasm. And I just thought it was so cute, you know. But then at the end, he's like, oh my gosh, I just don't even know. I'm like, well, no, actually. So he's going to the line. He's going to see, you know, I'm being more technical. And he's just like, I don't know. They're so close. And then, you know, he gets up there and nails the free throws, AJ, and it's just like, we know it's over. And it's just fun to get a different perspective because they
It
see it
is.
with different eyes.
Absolutely. And, speaking of AJ Mitchell,
Mm.
what a phenomenal series from AJ Mitchell.
Just
Um,
completely, everyone knows AJ now. He was
yeah.
our under the radar guy with J-Dub being out, but he showed out in this Lakers series.
Yeah, and then the rest of the league learned that he already signed a 3-year extension with the Thunder at just 3 million a year, basically. So he's on this extremely bargain bin contract, and all these other teams are like, "We want that guy." Oh, he's already
Oh,
locked up. Like they can't
oopsie.
afford him because they
Mm-mm.
already locked him up.
I think people forget to look at what Samuel locked in this last year, you
They thought
know?
because it was such a quiet summer, all they did was sign a couple extensions. They didn't have any big free agent, linked things going on, no big trades going. It was, oh, the Thunder just being boring, keeping the same roster. But like,
Hmm.
yeah, AJ was on the roster last year. He was looking
As a
pretty
matter of
good
fact,
before he got hurt.
yeah,
And then because he was hurt through a big part of the second part of the season, he just didn't get a lot of minutes in the playoffs because they had already kind of built a rotation, without him. And you don't want to
right.
really reintegrate somebody like right at the beginning of the playoffs. So, he got some
But we're
minutes in the finals in one of the games, but, really barely played in the playoffs.
You know, he's going to have to, and there will be adjustments. You know, you talk about coming back from injury and reintegrating into the playoffs. You know, J-Dub is going to come back. And so
Yes.
AJ's minutes are definitely going to be in flux. And, you know, I kind of anticipated that J-Dub would have come back in the last Lakers game just to get, as Shay always talks about, shake some of the rust off. And when they didn't, because AJ was just killing it out. Like there was no need for J-Dub to bother coming back.
No,
Even though
no
it was
need
a
to
close
take
game,
that
there was no reason.
risk.
Right.
Why
So
risk any
save
kind of
him for the next two
re-injury? Give
rounds.
him the plenty of time to get fully recovered, and you know, maybe he's rusty in game one. I could see a scenario where the Thunder maybe lose game one just because maybe if he does come back for game one and he's a bit rusty, who knows? But at the same time, I also remember 2012 and the Thunder took on a Spurs team that was 8-0 going into the Western Conference Finals.
Hmm.
Thunder dropped the first two games of that series and went down 0-2. San Antonio was 10-0 in the playoffs at that point. And then the Thunder ran off four straight wins to win that series 4-2 and go to the finals.
Yeah.
So, as much as this 8-0 feels good going into the conference finals, we have our own team's history to tell us it is not time to start counting our chickens before they hatch.
We gotta bring up old stuff, Brett. But it makes
Because I'm
sense.
old.
Uh, I don't think so. But the thing about playing the Spurs, if that's who we play, because
If
that's not even
it's
determined yet.
not decided yet,
We may still get the Timberwolves.
we
You
may.
know,
Game six is
Anything can
tonight.
happen. Yeah,
Game six is in Minneapolis. So despite being down 3-2, Minnesota may pull off the win up here in Minnesota to force a game seven. Um,
darn it.
I
I would love to see a 7 game series between the Spurs and the Wolves. I would.
I would too. I will say I got the sense in game five that the Spurs have somewhat figured the Wolves out, and
Hmm.
I'm not sure that the Wolves can win game six. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. The
I
Wolves are
honestly
my
don't
number two
anticipate it.
team, but I
I don't really. I think their injuries are wearing them out, the Wolves. So I think that's going to be a factor. I think that the Wolves did not properly take advantage of Wemby being out because of his elbow. Now,
well, they
had
only
Wemby
got him
been out,
out for that one game. They did win the game.
right, but what I'm saying is it shouldn't have been that difficult.
No.
No, it should have been handily, and it should not have been as fraught as it was.
Now,
Now,
speaking of that elbow,
exactly. Had they kept him out for 1 game, I think this series might be a little bit different.
I both can and cannot believe that he did not get a suspension for that elbow. And I've heard some argument, well, he didn't get suspended because he doesn't have a history of plays like that. AJ Mitchell doesn't have a history of dirty plays. He got suspended for a game for both being shoved in the back and shoving someone in the back at that Wizards game
Hmm.
back in
That 5-11.
March. Like, AJ did far less than what Wemby did and got a game suspension and like a $30,000 fine.
Well, Wimby's got there's like a mandated fine that comes with it.
He
I don't remember
didn't
what
get the mandated fine. They gave him no fine, no further
I
action.
thought it was no further fine, but there was still the mandatory.
If it
Whatever the
was, I
case is,
think the mandatory is only 2,000. So like
really, well,
For Wimby, that's like fining me $2. Like, okay,
that's playing chess in New
whatever.
York money.
Like, yeah,
But
that's
my thinking on the Wimby thing, one of my opinions, his height does him no favors because where his elbow on a straight line is above the shoulders of several players.
yeah,
So, while the rule is, flagrant above the shoulders, that's his natural motion. And I say natural motion, other people will say it's deliberate or whatever. I'm just talking about the physical action
right.
is above the shoulders. And I think that that is something that he, as he grows as a player, is going to have to accommodate more because of that. And he's
Yes,
still very gangly, and I'm not excusing what happened because I never like to see anybody hurt. But I just think I mean, because if he was smaller, it would not have hit in the same place,
true.
and it would not have been a flagrant. So
Yeah, but what got me was the slow-mo where you see him glance back at Nas before
I
he cocked the elbow, and it was kind of like he saw and knew what he was doing in that moment. And as an attorney, as somebody who has had to deal with, you know, you deal with whether intent has been formed for a crime.
yeah,
People think premeditated murder means you thought about it like the day before. You can form your intent in a matter of seconds. Like it can be a split second formation of intent. And to me, the evidence suggested because of the way he glanced back at him first, then cocked the elbow, to me, that formed intent. And so, because it formed intent, I felt a suspension was deserved. Spurs
I can see where
fans,
I totally can see where that would be an opinion. Truly.
Spurs fans were apoplectic that anybody would even suggest that their dear Wemby might deserve a suspension. How dare you even suggest such a thing? I
Like
got
it's so
blocked
unusual.
by a long-time NBA Threads friend that's like been part of the crew since like the beginning of NBA Threads for daring to disagree and saying that like no, I think that was a dirty play and deserved a suspension and just I got called a cop for saying this, like blocked and then like screenshotted and just I cannot believe the level of like crazy that Wimby has induced in the San Antonio fan base.
I mean, they have a real future with him, and I think that they've really got, some people, some fans have got very parasocial and very protective.
I mean, and
But
to
I
be
don't,
fair, I'm protective of Shay to some degree, and I've gone to the mat, but man,
I know. But other than that, injury wise, they're looking much stronger than the Wolves.
yeah,
So I think that might be part of a deciding factor because injury is going to be, we're at the end of the season, we're in the playoffs, everybody is getting banged up. Everybody.
yeah,
And, talking about this last series that we had with the Lakers, Luca going down, would it have made a difference if he had played? That's like asking again, what if J-Dub played? You know, we don't
yeah.
know what the impact would be.
We don't. Although we do know that in back in was it early April, the game where Luca got injured was against the Thunder.
Hmm.
Came at a time when the Lakers were 13-1 in their last 14 games heading into that one. They were healthy, the Thunder were healthy. We were finally getting the matchup of the healthy teams. And the Lakers were down 30 before Luca got hurt. So
True. Very
I,
true.
I don't know how much difference he would have made because he certainly would have brought more offense. I don't know if the Thunder really viewed him as a defensive presence that would have gotten in the way of their offense. Um,
I don't think so. That's never been his strong suit.
you know, they maybe would have won a game, in my opinion. They maybe that fourth game in LA where they did keep it close, having the extra firepower of Luca might have been enough to win that game four.
I'm so glad that it ended up being a sweep and was over quickly because I was very tired of seeing sad Luca on the sidelines. They panned to him like it felt like almost every other play, and they're like speaking for him. The
Right?
announcer, oh well, he wishes he was out there. He wishes he could be doing this and this. And I'm like, there's another injured player on the other bench who looks really happy, but would like to be out there too. Would you like to look at him?
They
No, I
panned
didn't
to
want to look
J
at
Dub
J-Dub.
like three times during the series. There was at
Not
least three.
individually. There was always more. Literally, like he was with Chet or he was with some, he was never, and they focused on Luca, and Luca would just be like, I'm like,
I mean,
okay.
to be fair, the vibes on that Lakers team are not the same as the vibes on the Thunder team.
No, I get it. And again, I'm totally being a homer, but it was ridiculous to see and hear how many times Luca wishes he was out there. What the hell do you think J-Dub is doing? You
Luca's
think
missing this series. Oh, what would they be like with Luca? What would they be like with Luca? How would this be different with Luca?
And that doesn't diminish Luca's abilities. That's
No.
not what I'm doing. I'm just saying the difference between your number two player, both being injured, both being on the bench, and only one of them getting the sad violins played for them.
Well, I mean, to be fair, there wasn't much reason for any sad violins to be playing
No,
with the
but you can
Thunder.
show happiness, you can show the joy, but
Yeah.
it's better to see sadness, I guess, and frustration.
It's the Lakers. It's Luca. He's a star around the world.
Hmm.
It's part of what comes with the territory. The
Oh, I
Lakers
get
get
it.
talked about inordinately more than may be necessary sometimes.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting, still don't know what LeBron's going to do. That this will be an interesting summer to hear about the Lakers and what they choose to build next year.
Yeah, speaking of LeBron, Jared McCain's vlog is titled I beat LeBron James in the playoffs.
Well,
Or
I was
maybe it's
talking
just I
about
played
AJ.
against LeBron James in the playoffs. Either way, it was clear it was a huge deal to Jared that his
Oh,
team
yeah.
got to beat a LeBron team. When you think
Well,
about
and
it, LeBron's been in the league like Jared McCain's entire life.
right, right. I was mentioning that about AJ the other day. Like AJ drove to the basket in one of the games, one of the series against LeBron, and he made a layup, but he drove against LeBron and scored. And my thinking is, you got to be, a kid that grew up watching LeBron the entire time you've been alive, and you go out there and you drive on him and you score on LeBron. That has to just be huge.
Has to be. What a just what a moment, you know.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I don't think LeBron will retire. He might, I've heard some speculation that he might. But man, he sure looked like he still had something left in the tank. Um,
I see that. I don't know if the Lakers want to focus on that, or somebody was talking about Golden State, and I thought, no, that's just a retirement tour waiting to happen up there. You know, Steve Kerr
yeah,
signed 2 years, but you got Steph and Draymond and Jimmy, and it's just, I
I
don't know.
don't know, I don't know how he stays in the league and where. I think for the Lakers, it would make more sense to move on from LeBron because whatever
Hmm.
contract, even if he takes a little bit of a discount, like he's gonna take up a big chunk
Hmm.
of their salary cap space. And, despite the fact that he was clearly the guy carrying them in this playoff run,
Hmm.
that was more because of Austin Reeves being injured for part of the playoffs and Luca being out for the playoffs.
Hmm.
It's clear they're trying to build around Luka Doncic for the future. And so I think if that's your goal to build around Luka for the future, I don't know how having LeBron on the roster again helps you build that team. But
Yeah, I don't know how it moves them forward. I think it limits them because their monies cannot be
yeah,
allocated, and they don't have the
they
picks
could
that
get
Samuel
three
does.
players for the cost of LeBron, you know?
Yeah, look at
Um,
AJ's contract, look at Jared McCain's contract, you
yeah,
know.
they've got to be looking at that. So I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing. On the other hand, it's LeBron James. He sells tickets. He's just a force to be reckoned with in his own right. And if any team can afford to give him a retirement tour for a year or two more, it's probably the Lakers because they're going to sell those seats and be a big name whether they win another championship in the next year or two or not.
That's true. They just got to be careful not to waste too much of Luca's time, I think.
That's where I'm at with it. Is if I were managing there, I would really want to get as many new players around Luca as possible to really build around him. But that's just me. We'll see what they do. They have a GM who was a sports agent before being the GM, so I don't know if he's got the right team building mentality or not. Who knows?
They can't all be Samuel. They
No,
can't.
they cannot. And
Our guy,
Presti, whew.
he needs a haircut. I can't believe he's let his hair get as long as it is,
I was
which
wondering, is he doing
still,
like a I'm not gonna cut it till we win another championship deal or
that's what I was
something?
thinking because he's always so cleanly cut and it's not like it's long. I mean, it's not like this. It's for him though, it's long. So maybe it is. Maybe that's what the guys are playing for. The longer they play, the longer they get to see Sam in his long hair.
Maybe it's a winning thing if they keep the winning streak alive. Who knows? Um,
Who knows?
I did notice
But
when they cut to him in the crowd and he was on the phone, he covered his
covering that
mouth so
mouth.
that people could not read his lips. So some
Isn't that funny
intrigue.
that it's just so, I mean, it could be his Chipotle order and he doesn't want anybody to know what he gets in his bowl. But
Talking about trading that 12th pick to somebody, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what he's
I don't
talking
know. I don't
about?
know that he wants to move. I don't know if he moves up. I don't think it'll be very far. I think it may be a couple of spots, depending on how it falls. Money wise, it doesn't make sense to move up very much.
No. If anything, they're better off picking 12th because they owe that pick less money than they would like a sixth pick or something.
Exactly. I
So
don't, that's why I don't think they're going to be, I don't think it'll be top pick for that.
I
I mean,
wouldn't
but
even
who's
be
to say?
surprised if they trade it for some future first down the road to some team that wants that first this year so bad.
Could be. But I
I
mean,
know this, if they have a player in mind, they will make whatever moves they need to make to get said player. And if they don't have a player in mind, they might just kick the can down the road.
well, this draft class is supposed to be pretty deep, so I am betting they've got some ideas going already. But there's nothing wrong with the 12th pick, J-Dub.
Correctamundo.
With the 12th pick.
The
Yeah,
Oklahoma
so,
City Thunder select Jalen Williams of Santa Clara.
yep.
Not to
You
be
can bet your
confused with the
life
Jalen Williams they're going to select in round two tonight.
on that. Exactly. Spelled different. But, you know, maybe they're looking for another Williams. We only have three right now. We need more Williams.
We could use more Williams.
I don't know. I think it's fun to think, the lottery, our odds were so tiny to be towards the top of the pick that, you know, I wasn't concerned because I know whatever
Nah.
we get, it's going to be maneuvered into the right fashion, either a new pickup for us or trading for the future. He's not afraid to do that.
And frankly, during our rebuild, even during the tank years, we only got the like a top four pick the once with the number two pick with
Hmm.
Jet. Like we got the year before, we had a chance to potentially get two picks in the top five, and the
Hmm.
lottery balls fell that we only got the number six pick and ended up having to take Josh Giddey there, which ended up being a great pick. He was a great fit on the team until he wasn't. And then we were able to move him to bring in Alex Caruso. So,
Yes.
you know,
The Caruso.
I just
Um,
trust Sam will know who the right pick is and he'll handle that.
in Presti we trust.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was interesting to see, those clips of LeBron, after the game, hugging up Shea and AC and told Shea it was like, go get it, go get another one, telling AC the same thing, because when you play the best and you're beat by the best, you want the best to win.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good show of respect.
Oh, absolutely. And it's clear to me that LeBron has a ton of respect for this Thunder squad and what they're doing.
Yeah.
He's done episodes of his Mind the Game podcast talking about how great the Thunder are, and like he considers them truly one of the greatest teams he's seen. And this is
It's
a
so
guy who's
funny
been in the
because
league for 23 years, so he's not just speaking out of his ass
I
here.
know. Well, there was some conversation I saw. I was talking about, will there ever be basketball dynasties again and all this stuff? And it's like, and in the next breath, they're like, well, if Oklahoma doesn't win this year, then it's just never going to happen again. And I'm like, okay, that that seems a
So
bit of a
many
stretch.
people are so ready to already crown the Spurs. Like they are already ready to crown
All they
them.
see is the ones and zeros. They won, they lost, WL, and not the considerations that was going on behind it. And that's for us. That the minutiae's for us.
Yeah.
Like we know we're going to defend it. Two of them were on the second night of a back-to-back. Such and such was hurt. I'm like we can rattle these things off. All they see is Spurs have won this many times and beat the Thunder.
Yeah.
So that they automatically think this is what's going to happen.
So if the Spurs win tonight,
Hmm.
game one will be on Monday night on NBC. If the Spurs lose tonight and a game seven is required, that will be on Sunday. And then game one of the Western Conference Finals will be Wednesday night.
Yep.
And then those games will be every other night throughout that series on the even numbers. So either 18, 20, 22, 24, or 20, 22, 24, 26.
Yep.
I did look into that before the show to confirm that the schedule is prepped depending on which way that goes.
Yeah,
So,
I had heard next Wednesday if it went to seven.
yep,
So, and it was just like, and somebody was saying that they only get a couple of days rest if it did go to seven. And on the flip side, I mean, that would be what, almost 10 days since the Thunder played. So in some ways, they're they're going to be fresher because they just played, but we're going to have the fresher legs.
yep,
No matter who we play, we're going to have the fresher legs.
for sure. And I'm sure Coach Mark is, working on things and finding ways to try to keep the guys from getting out of game shape, and they'll figure something out. I'm not worried about it. You mentioned some of the things we can rattle off about those Spurs matchups. AJ Mitchell was only healthy for two of them,
Hmm.
and the Thunder were 1-1 in the games where AJ Mitchell was healthy. So to me, that tells me maybe AJ does make a difference. That's an extra attacking guard that their defense has to account for. Um, I could even see a scenario where maybe AJ starts, even if J Dub is back. Um,
Okay.
I I could see
I'm
it.
open to hearing that.
I could see it. I don't know. Maybe you put AJ in instead of Dort to start the game.
Maybe. But then how would we kick off all of our scoring without a Lou Dort Rainbow 3?
It's
Like we
true.
can't sit down until we get the Lou Dort Rainbow 3.
That is truly has been like the first points of like basically every playoff game this year.
It makes me laugh so much because I mean, it's never just a shot. I mean, it's always, you know,
I
heading
love
for the
his rainbow
rafters.
shot. I love it.
It just makes me laugh. Oh, then everybody can sit down and watch. But I think again, you know, it's the first two games going to be in the Paycom, and our momentum and our crowd carries a lot. It really does.
It
So
does.
I think it might still be hard for the Spurs or the Wolves to really carry one of the first two.
It
Rusty
will
or
be.
not, I think it would still be a challenge.
Yeah, and I think the crowd's going to be super into it. This is going to be, if it ends up being the Spurs, like I think we all kind of assume it likely will be. It's
I'm still
going
given
to
the courtesy
it's going
of
to be the
potential.
most anticipated series of the playoffs that all the fans around the league, frankly, are talking about and wanting to see. Um, it's going to be fun. I think these are two young teams with a great core of young players that
Mhm.
are probably going to be battling it out for the Western Conference Championship for the next 3 to 5 years, possibly.
Could
Um,
be.
this might be the re-beginnings of the old Spurs Thunder rivalries of past.
Maybe so. I mean, I think it will be interesting to go into these games rested and with a healthy roster. And I think those two things will have more of an impact than past record.
Yeah, I agree. And we've already seen the playoffs is just a different animal.
Hmm.
We've seen teams that didn't look that great in the regular season that when it came playoff time and they had the right matchup in front of them, they looked totally different than they looked all season long because it's about matchups, it's about health, it's about having the physical mentality for the playoffs that's not
Hmm.
really there in the regular season. So, I think it's going to
Because
be great.
the
I don't
Lakers
think
was,
we're going to sweep though.
oh no, no. And I don't even think gentlemen sweep. I think it's closer to going 6-7 than it is 4.
Absolutely. I'm
Um,
not making any more sweet predictions moving forward.
no. But I do find it, that I've just lost my train of thought. It was really important, but that's okay. Oh, matchups. Like the Lakers did a great job getting to the second round of the playoffs. I
They
mean,
did.
I give all kudos to them for doing that. We were a bad matchup for them. And had things panned out differently between, it would have been Spurs and Nugs, everything would have been different
Yeah.
if the Spurs, I mean, if the Nugs hadn't been in third like that, if
Yeah.
they'd dropped fourth. So
Yeah.
matchups are huge.
Matchups are a big deal in the playoffs. The Thunder ended up getting two matchups that frankly were really good for them and
Mhm.
not so good for the opposing team. And
I know.
had the Thunder had to play the Nuggets, that probably would have gone 6 games.
Mhm.
That's a matchup that uniquely gives the Thunder a little bit of trouble. So, it
I'll
is
be
what it
interested.
is.
I really am interested if the Spurs do win. To me, this is a very interesting series between the Spurs and the Thunder because I mean, they'd both be healthy and ready to go. So
Now,
I
if
don't
the
know.
Wolves pull off the upset and shock the world and win these next two, then I'll take the Thunder in 6 probably. So I do think the Wolves are tough and like they'll be a tough out despite being injured a little bit and not as whole. They are a tough defensive squad that's going to get physical, that's going to fight. And it would be a rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals, and I
Hmm.
think they definitely would like to win at least one more than they did last year, only getting it to
Yeah,
5 games.
but
Um,
I don't. The longer that the Wolves Spurs series goes on, the more it diminish. I mean, it wears them out. I mean, it just
yeah.
flat out wears them out. And so, if they're already dealing with some injuries, and this game gets tonight's game 6, if for some reason it does go to 7, they are not going to have a lot of rest time to turn around and face the Thunder. And
It's true.
to me, I feel like the Wolves have less of a chance against the Thunder than the Spurs do.
Oh yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. But
I'm not saying that they're going to get
I do
swept.
think
I
they'll play
don't.
tough and, will do their best to take at least two games and
Hmm.
try to show some improvement over where they were last year.
Yeah.
That said, they're stuck depending far too much on Julius Randle,
Hmm.
and unfortunately, he has just not shown to be a playoff riser and just does not seem to have the oomph it takes as a scorer to really be their secondary scorer. So,
Yeah, they don't have a ton of depth. They not like some teams, Thunder, have really deep benches and have worked those benches all season in preparation for playoffs.
you heard us talk about it all year long on this podcast. These injuries suck, but you know what? Our guys are getting real minutes in important spots in games. They're learning how to win, they're learning how to play together. And it showed up in these playoffs so far that just depending on the situation, maybe one series it's not your series, Jared McCain, but then the next one it is, and boom, you're in. Oh, he's
And
another
Mark,
person who was not even on the team for any of the Spurs games this year.
right? Because he didn't come around till February.
So there's a wild card too.
Well, and the thing about it is Mark is so canny with his rotations. And it's funny because he actually, with that last game, his playoff record is 30 and 11 for a 73.2% win rate, which is the highest of an NBA coach.
Yeah,
He knows what he's doing in the playoffs.
he has been a phenomenal playoff coach, and he's gonna go down in history as one of the great coaches, I think.
I hope
Um,
so, because he's
he
really,
still hasn't lost a first round game.
mm-mm.
And for as much as people are already trying to anoint the Spurs as the next new dynasty, like they've Mitch Johnson, coach of the Spurs, has already lost more first round playoff games in one season than Coach Mark has in three.
It makes me wonder, you never like to talk about people getting older or injured or whatever. It's like, what if Pop hadn't had a stroke? How much would his mentoring of Wemby would it be different than where he is now? You know? I mean, the kid
Which,
didn't even know what a flagrant two was. Bless his heart. So he says.
yeah, I think that was some
It was fun
acting.
though. It was fun because he's giving the impression that that's never happened to me before.
Yeah,
So
I think that was kind of
bless his heart.
calculated. I tend to agree with Tim McMahon and Brian Windhorst from ESPN on this one. Like, give me a break. He knew exactly what was going on. You are not that good and smart of a basketball player to not know that rule.
Right. Maybe they call it something else in the Euro League, but it's the same
Yeah, I don't
fundamental thing.
know. He hey
But
he played it out and made who me what
oh, and people
Adam
make such a
Adam
big deal about
Silver
him.
went for it and said, hey, look, I can pretend this wasn't as bad as it was, and oh look, he magically gets no suspension here.
Shocking. But, you know, it's been hard to point out all the free throws that your, you know, guard doesn't make when they don't get the calls. And, you know, the
you know
Thunder,
you
their
know
free
what
throws are,
team averages the most free throws per game in the playoffs right now?
is it the yellow and gold? I mean,
No,
the
the
gold and
San
purple?
Antonio Spurs
Look at
are
that.
averaging the most free throws per game through two
Hmm.
rounds so far.
Huh.
You know who's averaging the fewest free throws per game in the playoffs right now?
Who would that be?
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
It
So
could be
yes,
because
that
we
that
don't play as much.
magical whistle we get. No, per game. Like
Oh, per game.
yeah, per game. So of course we have the fewest overall because we've only played 8 games. But like
Yeah.
when you average it out to per game so that you're looking at the same numbers,
Hmm.
fewest free throws per game so far in the playoffs. So all these fan narratives of the Thunder's great whistle and we just go to the line all the time. I hate watching the Thunder. It's just a free throw fest. Tell
I
me you
know.
don't watch the games without telling me
Hmm.
because there has not been a game in these playoffs that the Thunder had some inordinate amount of free throws that it was just wildly different than any other basketball game ever before.
Right.
Shoot,
But
I
again,
remember games. There was a Spurs Mavericks series back in the mid-aughts when I was in law school, where the Mavericks shot 49 out of 50 from the free throw line one game or something. Like,
okay.
that's a crazy number of free throws. Like,
Hmm.
20 something free throws in a game is just, that's an average game.
Yeah. Well, and there's more drives, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not gonna spout that number off because I have absolutely no factual basis for it. Um, but driving to the basket is going to get him more than the three-point shooters.
it is. That's why Steph Curry has tended to not average a ton of free throws because he gets so many more of his points from the 3-point line than he does from driving to the hoop. It's not to say
Hmm.
he never drives. He just doesn't drive to the degree that Shea drives or that Jalen
Right.
Brunson drives. Like Jalen Brunson, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander are guys that make their living driving to the basket and either putting up a shot or passing out to an open shooter by
Hmm.
collapsing the defense. That's literally their goal.
Well, and Shea's assists have just continued to be strong through these playoffs.
His passing so much better this year than last year.
Yeah,
Um, I think this team is better than last year's team.
I agree.
You can
I agree.
see they have more playoff experience now. They look more cool, calm, and collected. Shea's playmaking ability is better. They've added another playmaker in AJ Mitchell that wasn't getting heavy playoff minutes last year. And then
Hmm.
they've added guys like Jared McCain, who if Isaiah Joe's not having a good 3-point shooting night, well, Jared McCain probably will, or vice versa. So
And Nikki T is actually on the court sometimes in playoffs. I'm
Nikki
not going to
T
let my
getting
king not
playoff
get mentioned.
minutes. That's right. That's right. Hey, it helped when we were winning by 20 a game against the Lakers.
Look, you got to have the people out there. You got to have the roster, and that's what we've got.
I forget how tall Nikki T is until he gets out there. He's so big.
There
Um,
was an article on ESPN that I read yesterday, and it was talking about the Thunder. And it was talking about how all of the all of the fans in the arena, like continuously cheer for every player that comes in. From J-Dub checking in to Nikki T at the end. They are still getting the cheers and the hoots and the hollers, whether it's starting five or deep in the bench. They get
yeah.
so happy. And I know I do. Anybody that gets an opportunity to be on the floor deserves to have, the cheers when they come in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of my favorite things about our team and our fans. It's just such a good relationship between the fan base and the team and the players. It's a great time to be a Thunder fan. Our
Yes.
our sixth Western Conference Finals in 18 years of being a team. So
Yep.
once every 3 years, we're getting to the Western Conference Finals at this rate.
Hmm.
Truly a magnificent franchise. And it's cool that we have a team that's just synonymous with success now.
Love it. Small
Love
market
it.
domination.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. With a
Yeah.
W.
With a W. 16 and 0 is still on the table, Britt.
Well, as Shay said, he doesn't care how much he's ate because he's looking to win eight more.
His bars on his IG just crack me up. You just wait. What's Shay gonna say? What's Shay gonna say?
I love it. I
I
love
do
it.
too.
Well, I think that's it for this week. Make sure you have subscribed to us either on YouTube, on your podcast apps, like this podcast, give it 5 stars, go leave us comments, follow us on threads. We're there interacting all the time. And if you watch the game sixes tonight and hop on NBA threads, you might see us posting about the games this evening. Who knows?
Gotta know what we're up against.
That's right. I know I'll be watching.
I'm gonna try.
All right, y'all. It's been fun. We're looking forward to this Western Conference Finals beginning either Monday or Wednesday. We'll be back with you next Friday and hopefully in advance of either game two or game three. And we'll know a lot more about what it's looking like by then. All
Yes.
right. Peace and thunder up.
Bye.